Glitters of Life podcast. I'm your host, Rohit Kokane. And on this very new episode, we have a very special guest with us. You might be wondering, like, who she is. I couldn't got Virat Kohli on my show, but I did got Avneet Kohli. So she is the best in what she does. And to tell about her, she has a lot to do. She has got a great vision to scale the life and the business. So because she is the life and business vision coach, she is also the founder of the Eye Opener project and also the partner at the Encubay, where she helped the female founders in various aspects like mentoring, networking, and fundraising as well. So this conversation is going to be an interesting one. Welcome, Amnit, on the show.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you so much for having me.
It is my pleasure. So, Avneet, you started your career into the media industry. So, I would like to know, like, after hosting a lot of events, like for say, like 400 plus events, and that too for many tech giants, how was your experience? Like, was it your passion, or you always wanted to do something to be on the stage, or what was that?
Rohit, when I started out, I had absolutely no idea of who I wanted to be. So I didn't have any vision for per se for my life, and which is why I, want many others not to just land up by chance, but to design a life by choice. For me, it was. I mean, I grew up in Abu Dhabi. I studied business management, and I had come for my higher education to Mumbai. And in my first month of volunteering on a college, a job, I kind of got sucked into the media industry, where I went from right from being literally a spot girl, KRA pani lekar aao, to then landing an opportunity as a presenter, which was completely luck by chance, not something that I intended to do or I planned or I prepared to do. I was always great at public speaking in school, but again, I'd never had any formal exposure to the same. I think my story is that about number one, luck by chance. Clearly, the universe has its way of leading you where you're meant to be. And how I got my first opportunity was one of the projects I was assisting on. The performing artist, her CD had cracked in transit. So the introduction CD, which would announce her on stage, she was a headline big singer. And I was brought in as the all-in-one manager to do a announcement for her, and that announcement got noticed by Gitanjali Jewels, which was a very big jewelry
Yeah.
house, then got noticed by Kingfisher, and after that there was no looking back because I didn't know that there was a profession like anchoring and emceeing, but before I could process it, I was into it, and very in certain ways very proud of my journey as well, because I've been completely self-made, didn't know anyone in Bombay, so apart from my grandmother, so my entire network, credibility, whatever it is that I've done has been earned with a lot of hard work. Over 8 years, got awarded as best presenter in India, and a lot of these large institutions that I worked with also, started inviting me to come in and train their sales teams, train their, young leaders. I started being called for giving lectures in universities. And that's when I saw the opportunity for starting my first entrepreneurial venture, which is called Eye Opener, which was an image consulting company. So I would essentially consult SMEs and a few large corporations on their skilling as well as their strategy, brand strategy perspective. So did a lot of projects in India, but I never had technically I had a business management
The
graduation degree,
graduation.
but I had already started working and just gave my exams. When you start, no matter what you study, you learn on the job, and being an entrepreneur comes with its own highs and lows. So, did some great things, did some great projects, worked with some amazing clients, also made a lot of mistakes when it came to, financial management or just energy management, which is what makes me so passionate about work life balance, because I clearly didn't have it. And in no time, I ran myself into burnout. So, I was 23, I was doing all of this and, juggling my full time media profession and juggling an entrepreneur's a boutique company, and I met with burnout and moved back to the Middle East, which is where I am now. And with my own journey, it's like life gave me a second opportunity to this time really reconsider and start whether it was personal life or professional life with what is my intentional vision for my personal life and career. And what I've always wanted to do is work with people development and skilling. So today I practice as a life and a business coach, and I specialize in working with people on getting clear on their life and business vision. I work closely with a lot of people who are working for organizations, are looking for a transition in their life. They're kind of stuck. They're feeling like they need something else. And yes, first time entrepreneurs who are looking to start a business.
You have done a lot, I must say, because then at the very young age, you have that kind of a, like, as you said, like you are a self-made. So that gave you kind of a boost that you tried a lot of things, you tried to give your best, and then you got results, you experienced a lot of things, and then you try to move out from that particular thing, and then you settled. So that is something which we always consider ourselves very fortunate that we should be able to settle somewhere down the line. What we are going to do, how we are going to do, that is a kind of a journey. Like it rolls on, and as you get clear about your path, then it becomes quite interesting. So why did that burnout happen? Because then it is quite casual question, it is quite casual thing to know, because then doing a lot that you did, you were enjoying that as well, but then why did you feel that this is not something that I am able to do it very wholeheartedly, and that is causing burnout?
So, Rohit, two things. First, I never tell people to settle down because I think the minute you settle down, you lose a part of your flame, right? And today, anything that you want to achieve in life, I think, is a result of having hunger and drive.
Yeah.
So I don't tell people to settle down, but I do tell them to be strategic with
Okay.
how they invest their time and energy. So today, at any age, and especially for me, I was living a life in public domain. So the number of opportunities that would come my way, before evaluating it, I would jump into doing it. Right? You say yes to a lot of things which not necessarily are important for that age and stage of life.
Yeah.
So my what led to the burnout would be number one, a lack of clarity of what I wanted to do, whether in my life or in my business. So that is what I aspire people to take a lot of time on, which is get extremely clear on their life and business vision. The second is, I think, whatever you want to achieve is a result of the quality of goals that you set, and more importantly, a system to achieve it.
Yeah.
And I lacked systems. I would decide आज ये करते हैं and then jump into doing it without having a clarity on my why, the and a systematic plan in order to achieve it. So hence you say yes to a lot of things and you're struggling because there's only 24 hours in a day. So I could say that a lack of time and energy management and clarity is what led me to burnout.
Yeah, that is quite important to know, because then the kind of generation we have, like they want to test a lot of things. They are quite flexible with whatever they are doing, and being the Gen Z people or something like millennials as well, they are chasing continuously something. So they feel that if this is into the trend, I should be doing this. If that is into the trend, then I should be driving towards that particular goal. So that is the reason, like if you have the systems, if you have the clarity of your goals, that would be a lot easier for the people to understand in what direction they should be like focusing, how should they be achieving their goals, and then it becomes quite easy. Like it's not easy to achieve goals, it's a continual process, as you said, like you don't ask people to settle, because then you get quite comfortable into that journey. And even for me, success is not something that I would always define, it is always the kind of a progress. Because then once you attach a kind of a full stop to a success, then it ends out there itself, you have to start again, like searching for a new goal. So that is something that I was curious about knowing. So whenever into a media industry is something which is very difficult to stay into, because we have seen in Mumbai especially, where you were doing a lot of events and all. So what do you think about the role of networking, and how does it play an important role to move ahead into that particular trajectory. Because then if you don't have any kind of a connection, it quite get difficult to reach to that particular point. You don't get a lot of opportunities and you lag behind into that journey. So what was your ideal process of like getting into that particular ladder?
So, if I could say that there is a single massive contributor and impact towards success, I would say it is your network, right? Because very often, whether it is with whatever we do, uh, I cannot even begin to count how many opportunities whether would have come to me only through referral
Yeah.
and come to me through my network because someone knew that I'm doing this or someone knows that I do this well, who has put in a positive word of mouth and that has come around as a podcast, as a client, as a, I don't know, something or the other, right? So
Yeah.
if there's a single factor, I would owe it to networks. We, a lot of especially young business owners or aspiring business owners, spend such a lot of money in lead acquisition.
Yeah.
But if you really sit back and look at the numbers, I'm sure they will agree that it's usually 20% of your clients that give you 80% of your business,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
And it's not about acquiring all those new millions of leads, but it's about those qualified people that who again give you continual business. So I would say that networking, no matter what age stage you're at, is extremely crucial. For me, I learned the value of it little late in life, which is why I enable this for more women now. um, for me, when I started out, I didn't know anybody, literally, except my grandmom. I had nobody else in the city. And even the university that I went to, nobody was doing what I was doing. So there was nobody who could connect you to something or anything of that sort. But for me, I started out in a very, literally, it was doing good work that brought me, the next opportunity, there, the next opportunity. But I strongly believe in nurturing these relationships. So whether it was a free assignment or a paid assignment, number one was making sure you do an impeccable job
Yeah.
so that people remember you. And the second is even without an intention or a monetary agenda, maintain that relationship. So for me, that is what has compounded over the years, where even though today, maybe last 10 years, I would have not done any business with a person. But even 10 years later, if some opportunity comes in, I would be, the first that they would recommend. So that's what's worked for me.
Exactly. That is something that we all should be able to consider this, because then recently I was checking my LinkedIn profile and someone tagged me like they want a kind of a podcast producer. So we that particular person tagged me and we didn't have a kind of a like exchange of conversation, but they just know like he's the person who can do this. So that is the power of networking, that you have to utilize your connections. And as we said, like we were in touch, we did talk early, like we would be doing such kind of episode. But it is just about like knowing the people, the right people, be in touch with them. And then not every lead or not every person would be giving you a business, but then it is always a healthy practice to maintain those relations, is what I feel. And you did talk about like you had no one in the city of Mumbai just apart from your grandmother. So did she play a role of mentor in your life, or how it was, or whether a failure was your mentor? So what's your view on it?
So my grandmom, it would be an understatement to say if she's played a role in my life because, I mean, my grandmom was uneducated,
Yeah.
hardcore Punjabi lady, didn't know English or Hindi. She only spoke in Punjabi. She had 12 children and a blind husband.
Oh.
So she was the sole breadwinner of the family and had 8 daughters who she got married. Seven of them she got married and had 4 sons. So I would be understating if I said that if she played a role in my life, I could just having her presence and looking at what she was doing, how she was doing it, in spite of having nothing working for her. If it was her lang, neither was she the most beautiful or anything. She was running a home business and supporting 12 children in Mumbai, which is not a small number. So she has inspired me in a lot of different ways, and to date, I mean, I believe she's watching and listening to our conversation today.
Definitely, like I can relate to each and every word, because then the kind of efforts they take, the kind of uh, like presence that could be felt in our life, that is something that we can't express in words, is what we feel. And I feel like I touched upon a critical point, but then that was mandatory, because then if people don't know like what kind of role these people play into our life, we won't be able to judge, we won't be able to gauge, because then most of the times people are quite reflective, people are quite outright like blunt into saying parents don't play an important role, or like whatever your relatives, but then they're always trying hard to give you the kind of best life, and it is always upon us like how we are moving ahead, how we are evolving into that as a person. So it is a collaborative effort is what I feel, but they all give us a kind of a foundation to get a raise into a better person is what I feel. Amnit, this is quite an interesting conversation that we are having. You did talk about like apart from moving from a media industry now into the coaching, that was a complete career transition you had. So why do you feel that career transition can be an important topic in one's life? Because then how that can be done? Because I see a lot of people are doing it. For me also, like I'm into a full-time business, but still also into a podcasting thing. I'm also into a company where we launch and manage podcasts. So that is something that I have been doing apart from my core work, and you don't have to settle for just one thing. So what's your view on those particular things? Because industry is quite growing, people want more and more money as a kind of a passion project or the side hustle. So how have you seen this particular industry evolving?
So, Rohit, I'm a strong believer that, gone are the times when, I mean, I'm sure we would have at least one elder in the family who would have spent their entire life in one job, right? Maybe they started off with a bank and 20 years they were a bank manager or in a government job, something on those lines, right? Today, we don't live in those times. We live in a digital era
Yeah,
where things are so dynamic, things are changing constantly. And most importantly, the challenge that we face, especially like I'm a millennial, right? I'm assuming you're a Gen Z,
yeah,
or
no, I'm a
I
millennial.
okay. But with millennials, the larger mindset still is that they should be doing only one thing for ever. And that is, in a way, very selfish on the part of the other person. Why? Because of two reasons. Number one, that they assume that a person has only one capability. So, whole life he should do only one thing. And the second is they don't want have the mental bandwidth to be able to go along with your growth in life. They expect a person to be multi what do you call it, to be static and not be
Yeah,
multi hyphenate, right? And what I believe is, as individuals today, as we age, as we have new experiences, we have access to new geographies, new developments in terms of technology. It's very difficult for us to remain just one thing. You cannot do that anymore today. I doubt if you'll be able to, I mean, so from I believe in, as individuals we are multi hyphenate,
yeah.
and we need to keep constantly be evolving. Otherwise you're going to be at the end of being obsolete, and today you can't live that life anymore.
Exactly. That is quite needed, because when I started podcast in 2019, like I just started it, I took a brief gap into it. I couldn't realize like because मेरे पास कुछ वो background भी नहीं था. I'm a kind of a finance and taxation person. Then coming into this kind of a industry just to have fun with like what can be done through internet. That was a kind of a story behind it. But then eventually I progressed. Eventually I started learning and I started putting my time into a kind of a process that कि हाँ इसको सीख के हम आगे बढ़ सकते हैं. सो दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ अ प्रोसेस, दैट इज अ काइंड ऑफ अ टाइम you have to invest so that you get to know the industry better, you get to know how it is done. And during the same like when I started, uh, I didn't get any kind of a help from people, so it was more about figuring out by yourself. So you have to spend a lot of time. And now with the developments of the advancement, like do you feel that we lack something which is very traditional into our education system? What's your opinion on to that particular thing? Because then whatever we are taught into the schools and colleges, that already is like obsolete, as you said. So how do we prepare for whatever lies ahead into our journey? Because the kind of progress, the kind of development we are seeing with respect to artificial intelligence or augmented reality, whatever it may be, which is backed technologically, how do you see that this will really matter a lot into the career transition phase?
So I would answer your question in two parts.
Sure.
The first is in terms of education, there is no doubt that we have been, especially Indian education, we've
Yeah.
been lacking behind. But the good thing is that after 30 years, we've had a change in education
Education
policy
policy.
and a update, right? So, which is a positive sign. Now, come what may, whatever it is, whether curriculum gets updated or not, or whether whatever happens or not, one thing that I feel that is not taught to us in schools, actually, two things that are not taught to us. One is life skills, and the second is financial literacy, right?
Yeah.
And no matter what the future is, whether it's augmented reality, artificial intelligence is the new buzz at the moment, but these two things would remain fundamentals to anything that you do, right? Whether you're a working professional or you choose to start your own business and become an entrepreneur.
Right.
What I would say to people is, in order to prepare for a future, number one, invest in life skills. What are these life skills? These are your soft skills. These are your decision making power, your critical thinking skills, your analytical thinking skills, all of these different things that you can, your risk taking appetite. There are literally 21 such skills which fall under the realm of life skills, and a person should know that in order to be equipped to deal with anything that life throws at you. Another important thing that's often ignored is emotional resilience,
Yeah.
emotional intelligence. And as a part of whatever technology the impact might be on jobs, on young professionals, on whatever they have studied, whether it will still be relevant, we are just at the cusp of a new epidemic of sorts with the influx of AI, especially, and
Yeah.
also, its impact on what it will cause to the youth and their mental health, right? So I feel like life skills is one thing people need to invest in. Emotional resilience, emotional intelligence is a skill that can be learned that will allow them to prepare for this. Financial literacy is something that's sadly not taught to us in schools, but there is enough and more content out there. If someone makes an effort, they can very well find a lot of relevant information. And if people are able to not just start earning, but even if you earn 100 rupees, start saving 10 rupees in the first month, that over years compounds into you know uh, your capital. So a
Right.
lot of these things, which is about understanding early investing, understanding how to, because people earn money, but even then that money doesn't stay. So why does it not stay? Because people aren't intelligent, either emotionally or financially. And I think these are the gaps that need to be bridged in the education system.
So true, Avneet. I have seen like people aren't aware of like financial literacy. They will show off everything that they do into their life, but then when it comes about like investing, when it comes about saving, they don't have the access to the information. Uh, and these are the same people. They just rely on like my chartered accountant will be taking care, my financial planner person would be taking care of it. But that doesn't happen. If you are able to deep dive into that particular topic, you'll be better understanding how you want to play your money, and so that it will give you results accordingly. And that is very true, like as you said, that you have to learn all of this. You just have to walk parallelly with the kind of developments that are happening. But again, we have seen that there were layoffs into the covid, okay, with respect to the jobs. Now we have been seeing job displacements. So what's the kind of scenario that you are seeing into the industry, how people can deal with this job displacements because of the AI?
See, job displacements are a given, but if they are being displaced, that is why, because they probably don't have the relevant skills that are needed for the new job description. And this is one of the classic problems that we have, that people stop learning, people stop upskilling, right? They finish their graduation, do their masters, get that job which is paying them whatever 25, 30 lakhs a year, and then become complacent and settle, get married, and then they're only stuck in that cycle. But they stop studying. And today, I think, which is one good thing, as difficult as it is and as pressurizing as it is, gone are the days where you can even think about settling, because the minute you settle, new technology is here and you need to be updated with it.
Yeah.
And that is something, if someone wants to stay in the job market, they would need to embrace constant upskilling with tech. with business, with anything that needs to be brought in, so that their skills are relevant to the job description that the organization requires. And they would need to get more and more super specialized with what companies might need. And the second is for all of them who want to start a business. I mean, I personally hold programs all the time for people to go from zero to one. Right? I help them understand what are the ideas worth pursuing, which idea, how to validate it, how do you start your business, and I handhold them on that journey. So, entrepreneurship is also not something that you just do by chance.
Yeah.
It is a learned process which at least reduces and mitigates the risk of, losses and a waste of time. So, irrespective of whether it's a job or it's entrepreneurship, learning is a commitment for a lifetime. And if you stop learning, you stop growing.
And once you stop growing, nothing can help you, nothing can save you.
Absolutely.
Great insights, Avneet. That is what people should be able to focus on. Keep learning, keep evolving as a person. And there is a lot that we can take into our mind. It is not something that if I have taken this kind of a degree, then I don't have to study further. It is more about like how well, what is your quest of achieving that particular goal? How well it kind of gives you a kind of a momentum so that you be onto that particular path and that it becomes quite an easier process. Now coming on to the next part, you are into a coaching business. So how it has shaped your life and why do you feel that coaching is a kind of a integral part of your journey, and how you help people in achieving their goals?
So, Rohit, my specialization lies with vision coaching, whether
Yeah.
that's life or business. Now, that is what I understand. Majority of the people struggle with clarity, which is why they run around like mice trying to do different things all at once. Right? And why, how has coaching benefited my life and what value does it bring? I have always wanted to work close to people. I'm not one of those who can sit behind a computer and be a coder or a gamer. But for me, having human interaction is extremely important. And when I can have this interaction with a flavor of transformation, I think that's what makes my job extremely rewarding. Because I've had people, for example, I had a woman who had moved to a new city hoping to get married, and that marriage didn't go through. The boy, didn't, uh, it didn't fructify into a marriage, but she could not exit that country for a year and she had to make a living for herself. So, in that time, and whatever she had studied was not relevant to the geography she was in. So, in such a case, what would she do? How would she start? Where would she start? Helping her through that difficult phase of finding a path to being able to support yourself financially every month. Extremely rewarding. Till date, every Valentine's Day, she sends me a letter which is customized and she expresses to me where she is in her journey. So, that's one example of it. Another lady that I'm working with, I mean, I do work with men and women both. Another lady I'm working with has not gotten, I mean, she's living a separated marriage, but hasn't, they want to get divorced. Husband is not giving her a divorce. They have a son. She wants to, move out, but he's playing the financial card.
Yeah.
And the girl is well educated, doing well for herself, but she needs to have a certain threshold of income so that she can stand in the court of law. So, helping her achieve those financial goals with her business is something that I'm working with, and it's extremely rewarding when I see that with you know she's able to take custody of her son from a toxic father. The another growth stage founder that I was working with, uh, they started out with their business. I mean, this person was going through um, burnout because of being an extremely young founder in the real estate, property tech space. And these guys essentially started something by chance, didn't expect the kind of interest they would receive, the kind of expectations. They picked up money very young from investors, and the pressure of dealing with those investors, managing his life, managing expectations. How would he set that, in place? So, working with people like that today, when they've gotten to their second stage of funding, working on the growth cycle of the founder in his personal life and of the business in their growth cycle extremely rewarding when I see them, being able to add value to the lives of laborers. So what I find is that my work is on working with the individual themselves. Unfortunately, the people that I work with are in turn working with their teams, with their clients, with their, other stakeholders, and I'm able to drive an impact by being able to work on this person's mindset, his clarity, their consistency with what they are doing. Also, personal branding. A lot of clients come to me seeking personal branding, but in order to develop a personal brand, again, it all comes down to clarity
Yeah.
of who I am, what I want to do, and build a brand around. So, yeah, I think when I'm able to work with a person on their vision and communicate the impact they want to have in the world through personal branding, it's an extremely rewarding experience.
What a fulfilling experience that must be, and each and every case study gives you a kind of a platform that you have to study this kind of a situation, you have to develop strategies, then you have to communicate those strategies and help them achieve that, because then they are not well versed with the kind of techniques that they should be utilizing towards achieving that particular goal. So that is definitely a kind of a great experience that a coach have on a coachee itself. So great to know that particular part. And you have also developed, yeah, you wanted to say something?
Right. So, Rohit, very often people, number one, they don't understand coaching very clearly,
Yeah.
right? So, I think I'll take a minute to throw some light
Sure.
on that. And the second is also when people come to me seeking what they do, they often say, oh, I want a life coach or I want a business coach. But they don't understand that life and career work in harmony with each other. Today, if as an individual you are messed up in your head and in your life, and your life has so many different aspects, your career is only one part of it. But how do you get that life balance? We use these words very easily, but how do we strategize our life, plan our goals across different areas of life? So I take people, I've written a book on this called Life Planner,
Yeah.
which really handholds people to be able to do this. And with respect to coaching, today a coach is essentially a personal development professional. This person, yes, can work with you on different shades of mental health, which is one part of it. But apart from that, a coach is focused on helping you achieve your goals, get clear on your goals, and achieve your goals. So, a therapist, for example, would traditionally work on past trauma of something that may have gone wrong in your childhood, which is still impacting your behavior today, your way of, performing today. But a coach is somebody who is very future oriented, not past oriented, but future oriented.
Exactly.
Where are you today? How do you clean up the mess? How do you strategize and work towards the future? Which is where a coach works with you from strategy to execution and consistency with your life and your business goals.
Exactly. And glad you clarified this, because then people will be having better clarity to whom to approach, because then they are just running here and there finding those people. But again, the question matters, like who is going to really help them out through that those particular situations. So that was again a great insights. And you did talk about the productivity tool, the life planner. So how did that particular happen? And when you talk about like the life planner, so what your usual day looks like, I would like to know from that.
So, Rohit, the life planner came about because I had reached a point in my business where I couldn't reach everybody. I couldn't make time for everybody. So, for some of them who either I can't take them on as my clients or can't afford to work with me, at least there is a tool, which at a very affordable price point that they can take and they can go ahead with the journey on their own, which is available on my website in India as well as UAE, right? And my signature process to how I help people achieve their goals is called visioneering. So typically, like how you can engineer a product,
Yeah.
you can engineer your life vision. And usually, when people don't know what results can I expect with a coach, so I have laid down a systematic process where I handhold them through this, at the end of which they are able to define and work towards these goals. So that is how the planner came about. What does my day usually look
Yeah.
like? My day is fairly very, very structured at the moment now. In fact, I have to work hard to now start the planning because I uh, I am a massive sucker for productivity. I don't want to work for more than 8 hours a day, but I want to make sure that those 8 hours are equivalent to 24 hours of work. So whether that is relying on tons of digital tools, like my calendar is like my breath to me. Anything that I need to do gets cemented on my calendar, and usually all my calls are pre-booked on my calendar. And I start my day with, um, let's say I wake up to a cup of jeera pani and methi seeds ka pani, which is my first 20 minutes of the day, drinking water and just kind of waking up for the day. I then get into my morning workout. I will do a variety of different workouts from yoga to CrossFit, and then essentially get to work come what may by 10:30 a.m. So the first 2 hours of the day are very important to set me up for the rest of the day. So that's what I do. And the minute I get to work, it's like you're in a what do you call it? Like in a dark hole. Whether that is meetings, whether that is calls, whether it's my client sessions. I do write a lot on LinkedIn as well. So, me creating content is something I do over the weekends usually. And I write a lot for publications as well. So, I dedicate my weekends to, I mean, complete Saturday, Sunday is husband and family time and writing time because it's when I have the mental bandwidth to not think about anything else.
Yeah,
I come what may wrap up work by a maximum of 7 p.m. And after that, I literally my phone goes on silent. I'm not very reachable because I want to take that time with my family, eat my dinner, call it a night by 10:30. So that's usually what the routine, or 11 at the max. And yeah, that's what helps me stay sane, stay healthy physically and mentally, and also have a workflow that remains uninterrupted.
exactly. Seems like a quite an interesting day you have. And again, as you said, like it is totally structured. Few people might be feeling that, yeah, all work, no fun, no play. But then
Not
again,
really.
weekends.
Not really. So even in my day, every day, I mean, after dinner, as a family, we'll watch something. I mean, whilst I'm working in the day, I work alongside music. So that's what's doable on a weekday.
Yeah,
But if I need to go out socially or something like that, of course, we plan it. And if someone's visiting, then I'll probably, take the time off. But you've got to, I believe that you got to take a holistic approach to life, whether it's your physical health, your mental health, your career, your finances, your fun and recreation, your learning and personal growth time. So I technically have my schedule, where I take every day 1 hour is dedicated only to learning. Every day 2 to 3 whilst I'm eating lunch, I am doing something or the other where I'm enrolled in, maximum of two courses at a time and I'm consuming and upskilling. So I take a very holistic approach that way. There are days completely stick to the routine. There are days life happens and you
yeah,
fall away from the routine. But the intention is to have a routine, have a system that allows you to do more, be more, get more. So
exactly.
that's what it is.
Exactly. And as you said, like you follow a kind of a structured schedule. We have seen a lot of people talk about the work life balance, but what I feel is that work life balance doesn't exist. It is more of like when you try to manage your work, it is more about work. When you try to manage your life, it is more driven towards life. So I feel that work life integration can be something that all people can achieve. So, what's your ideal way of doing that?
So, firstly, work is a part of life. And what we need to look at is life fulfillment, right? And what do you, more than integration, what do you get fulfillment from? And a normal human needs to think about their physical health, needs to think about their mental health, and you need to have goals and a system that it works and touches upon these different aspects of life. Because you're working does not mean that work is separate and life is everything else, right? Work is a part of life. So, what are the different parts of life? There is family, your relationships, your physical health, mental health, personal growth, fun and recreation, your career, your finances.
Exactly.
Broadly, there are 8 categories. Now, for these 8 categories, how do you, number one, what's your 1 year vision? That's work that you need to do with me. I can't give you a standard, answer, which is what is your life vision and what's your 1 year vision is what I help people achieve. And then set the systems in place and your routine that really helps you achieve that vision that you have aspired to want to do. So very often people set up, a routine, but the routine itself is set up in such a way that you can't stick to it. They set very ambitious, a vague expectations from themselves. So they set goals without systems. And what we need to do is invest in clarity to get clear on the outcomes, break outcomes into strategic goals, and support them with systems in order to have sustainability.
Great. Avnit, I just feel that while having this conversation, I'm able to learn a lot of things. It's a kind of a coaching thing for me that is happening right now. I'm able to take a lot of things out from here and would be applying them as well, because then it is always a healthier process to know what a person has to expect from their life, what they have to give to their particular life, be it work, be it the personal life that we are living. So it's always more about balancing each and every aspect of it. Now, coming on to the last part of this particular episode, I would like to ask you that if you have got an opportunity to talk with three people on, say, a like roundtable conference, who they would be, like those three people, and what one question that you would like to ask them?
I would absolutely speak to Oprah Winfrey. I would speak to Narendra Modi, and I would speak to Sheikh Maktoum of Dubai. And to Oprah Winfrey, I absolutely admire her. So I
Yeah.
would speak to her about, how did she set up a media empire and now an education empire with, the own network as a female business owner and manage all these aspects of life and get to that height in life. I would speak to Narendra Modi about how does an uneducated tea-selling man become the country's, prime minister, and what is his interest in supporting entrepreneurship across India and UAE with a special focus on women. And I would speak to Sheikh Maktoum about how uh, he can create more opportunities for expat women in UAE to be able to grow their ventures globally. So that's what I would talk to them about. If there was one question I could ask them all, that would be how did they execute and achieve their vision?
Yeah, I could relate that with Narendra Modi as well, because then the kind of vision he's seeing for the India, that is something that I don't feel that a person right now exists for that particular job, is what I feel. Being into the prime minister's post and then taking India to that particular level, that is happening very well, in a very well mannered. So I could relate that the vision engineering is happening over there. So great insights, Avneet. I could feel that there is a lot of depth into your thoughts. And if you have to take key takeaways from this particular episode, all I have to say is that every person starts from zero. It is just that you just have to figure it out. If you are planning for a career transition, that is very much possible. You don't have to stick to one part of your life, or you just have to believe in yourself. You just have to take that learning step ahead. If it is about the work life balance or something like that, it is more about like give yourself some time to grow, give yourself some room.
Plan.
Yeah, plan in a structured way. You just don't have to stop, as Avnit says. You just have to keep going. Exactly. And it is more about like define your life, define your goals, define your career, how you want to achieve them. And every goal which is attached to it, be it a kind of a job, be it kind of a entrepreneurship, the business goals, everyone would be getting achieved once you have the systems in place, once you're working on it. So systems might exist, like you are already giving them a kind of a system, but if you don't work, it is more about like working towards those goals, taking some actions, and then driving that particular change. So that is what I feel, and there is a lot more that we have talked about. So this was such a fun conversation, Amnit, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to interact with you.
Thank you so much, Rohit, for reaching out and wish you all the very best. May you be able to spark many more glitters in the lives of people. And thank you for having me.
It was my pleasure, and thank you so much. I wish you all the best. Stay happy, stay healthy. Bye bye. Take care.
Take care.